And while there aren't any Southern California factories on strike, we could still feel the effects here at home.
So joining us now to talk about the impact of this historic labor action is Nick Vyas, Executive Director of the Marshall Kendrick Institute at USC. Thank you so much, Professor, for joining us. And we really want to pick your brain on this one because this is going to hit a lot of folks. For the last 88 years, United Auto Workers has used a strategy of negotiating with each automaker one at a time. Let's talk about what that means for the auto industry now that there's been a work stoppage at the big three, and how will this impact inventory and the global supply chain?
Well, thanks for having me, David. And I think this is kind of a new strategy the union leadership is deploying, where they have sort of opted to take all big three automakers all at the same time. And an idea behind it that he wants to use this as a leverage to negotiate a better deal. And when we look at this issue at hand with the auto industry, we're still reeling with the aftermath of COVID disruption that disrupted the entire industry, shortages of parts, vehicles, as well as the semiconductor chips. So we're still actually recuperating from that initial fallout of COVID. And on the top now, we're dealing with the strike. And I think this could be a lethal combination for us.
Yeah, tough time for automakers, certainly. And let's talk about the consumer standpoint, too. What are some of the things that people may start to notice when they're out shopping for a car or at a repair shop?
So I think when you think about the car, let's imagine there are about 30,000 parts that goes into the car. And when the strike like this happens, I think it's going to touch the entire supply chain, where you have a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers. And once you start to stop an assembly or sub-assembly plants, I think it's going to have a ripple effect across that. So what that means for our consumer, basically, the supply will be lower, supply will be disrupted, thus the prices will drive up, the parts shortages will show up. So ultimately, the cost will climb up dramatically.
A ripple effect all the way down. Well, this is coming at a time where strikes are happening all over the country in all different sectors. We've seen it here in LA with writers and actors in entertainment, as well as hotel workers, teachers, and nurses. So what does it mean for the global economy to make all of these strikes happen simultaneously? Is there any overlap, or are they fairly contained to their specific industries?
No, I think we have to reflect. Last 2 or 3 decades, the union membership was declining. The union didn't truly have the voice. And under the current presidency, in which President Biden has gone on the record several times to say he's the most labor-friendly president. So unions do see this as a sort of a golden window of opportunity to position their agenda, advance the cause of higher membership as well as the better packages, both in terms of the wages and benefits. So I think they're using this as a sort of a small window of opportunity to move the agenda forward. So I think we do see this as a sort of an inflection point in which union feels that they want to be heard, they want to be seen, and they want to take advantage of this window of opportunity. So let's not forget, I mean, we just completed the labor negotiation at the port. And that was a big labor dispute that actually got carried over almost for a year. So you're absolutely right. I think there are so many labor unions coming together and trying to leverage their strength to take advantage of the labor-friendly administration.
Yeah, hopefully some agreements will be taking place shortly. Nick Vyas, it's such a pleasure to have you with us. We appreciate your input and your advice, and Executive Director of the Marshall Kendrick Institute at USC. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.